Hello everyone, JRDL96 here with a brand new reaction. As you can tell by the title, it's another Jacksepticeye video, and it's another Jacksepticeye interviews somebody. Now, it's been a very long time since Jacksepticeye has interviewed any celebrities for movies, for press. I believe the last one he did was for Jumanji. He interviewed The Rock, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillian, and Jack Black for Jumanji. So that was, I believe, was like the last time, and this was like around 2 years ago too. I think the reason why he didn't do any interviews last year is pretty obvious. But case in point, the people he's interviewing in this is two people that he's already interviewed for Spider-Man: Far From Home, and that is Tom Holland and Zendaya. I think it's Zendaya. So he's interviewing Zendaya and Tom Holland for Spider-Man No Way Home, which came out almost a week ago. So be prepared for spoilers after this video ends, because I have a lot of things to discuss about this movie, hopefully. But this was obviously, put out before the movie came out, and it's a shame that Jack can't see it right now due to, unfortunately, he actually got COVID when he was in LA for the charity streams and stuff. So that's a shame. But hopefully he can make it home by Christmas. But anyways, enough rambling. I wonder what Jack's gonna ask. I'm pretty sure he's probably not gonna ask the obvious question: is Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in it? I'm pretty sure he's not gonna be that kind of a person, but he's probably gonna try to ask some intelligent questions, hopefully. But who knows? So anyways, let's just get right into this one. So without further ado, let's react to this video, shall we?
Hello. Oh, hello, mate. How are you?
Hello, mate.
Yeah, good. Nice to see you.
I'll de-roll real quick.
Nice.
You're going to see that a lot today, a lot of strip teasers.
How you guys been?
Good. How are you?
I'm very good.
Okay.
We good?
Yes.
And we're ready.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacksepticeye.
So last time I was here, people joked that as soon as I walked in, you immediately knew I was Irish for some reason.
Yeah, that's right.
People just kept talking about how you were such a perfect Spider-Man because your spider sense was on point. So well done. It's been a couple of years since we've been able to do this.
2 years.
How's things been for everybody?
It's been an interesting time, isn't it? I mean, we've been very lucky that as far as work has gone, we haven't really been disrupted.
Right.
I know a lot of people around the world have had, real trouble getting back to work, or even still getting back to work.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
I shot Uncharted and then Spider-Man back to back throughout the height of COVID.
Yes.
So we were very lucky
That's
that
right,
the crews
yeah.
that we worked with were so responsible and took the safety protocols very seriously. Because we didn't shut down once, did we?
No.
It seemed like every other film that was being
I didn't hear
was
anything.
shutting down every 2 weeks.
Batman
We were
got
very
shut
lucky.
down
So it's been an interesting
twice.
time. I'm really
when the
delighted
pandemic
that
started,
Spider-Man
and then
was one of the
especially
first
when
stepping
apparently Robert
stones back
Pattinson
to
got
online
COVID too.
for people.
Yeah.
If people are feeling confident and safe enough to go back to the theatre, I feel like it's our kind of present to the world of.
Oh, trust me, my theater was packed, sold out.
Yeah.
Almost.
Everyone was kind of worried for a while that it was going to get delayed and pushed.
Yeah.
Sure.
Venom got delayed a little bit. Batman got delayed. A lot of movies got delayed.
Absolutely, yeah, because it's one film.
So
it's
many
not
movies
just
got
one film in
delayed.
the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
One film is the building blocks for
Like
6
8.
films
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the biggest one since Endgame. Because last time we talked about Far From Home, it was talking about bringing the MCU kind of into the new phase, and everybody was kind of getting ready for everything after Tony Stark. And now this is the next big thing. I feel like this is gonna break records and everything.
Tom Holland's
it's a lot of
like,
pressure.
don't ask.
How do you guys keep from
Ask
spoiling
Spider-Man.
everything?
How's the
How's it
pressure?
feel? How do we keep from spoiling things?
Yeah.
Oh, we all know Tom.
We have each other.
We all know Tom Holland is horrible.
But you just gotta be on your toes. You gotta really think about what you say.
Yes.
What you say. There was a question someone asked us the other day, and it was tricky.
Yeah, it was tricky.
I had to think about it for a second. I was
Because
like,
I kind of
wait
did
a
one of
minute.
these. I was like, don't say it.
Don't you dare.
You
Yeah.
didn't.
But I didn't.
The
We
snipers
knew
are looking
I
at
wouldn't
us.
Be as surprised or
Yeah.
as excited when they first see it. But I mean, there's so much people already know. I mean, especially with all the villains. I mean, that alone.
And
I
some
still
others.
can't believe that happened.
I know.
Yes, the other classic villains. Hello, Peter.
But I think just knowing that they're in it isn't enough.
Right.
Well,
People
to the
wanna see
fans,
it, yeah,
obviously, they
there's
want
one thing
more.
knowing someone's in a film, but then seeing them interact with characters that you already know.
Or
Right.
never thought they would ever interact.
Yeah, exactly. Like the first time you see Doc Ock and myself together, it's really quite a funny scene between the two of us, and then goes into this really epic action sequence, and it's just it's just really interesting and it's really exciting. And as a fan of every trilogy, it's really quite rewarding to see it on the big screen.
Yeah,
every trilogy.
Even when you got Spider-Man for the first time, you guys have to take on these characters that people have seen kind of like 2 iterations of before, and now it's its own thing, but you kind of have to live on some of that legacy and kind of like
honor that legacy, honor the past in a way.
You have to like go back and meet these characters that have already been in them before. So how do you kind of deal with that, and what comes with that sort of pressure?
Luckily, that's not our job.
That's the director and writers.
We just have to come set and do as we're told.
That's true.
And
a great director.
Yeah, we have an amazing director,
John Watts, and company.
Couple of studios that know how to do this. Just a couple, So we've got a lot of assets and a lot of clever people that are above us, coming up with the creatives and the narratives, and our job is to tell the story that's already been told.
Right.
It's already on the page. But we're lucky that we have each other. We have Jacob, so we have our little.
Yes, you have everybody involved.
Figure out what's going on amongst ourselves, and then the bigger
aspect,
plot points of the movie. That we're just along for the ride. That sort of stuff.
We leave it to them.
I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Since the movie's kind of about, like, everyone knows you're Peter Parker now.
Yes.
Everyone knows who Spider-Man is, and you've no anonymity anymore.
You have no privacy anymore.
It's kind of like being a celebrity in real life. Like,
for sure. I saw that too going into this.
Right now, and everyone's talking about what's going on in your lives. Does that ever get to you, that people are kind of like poking at you all the time, kind of like people poke at Peter, and just that you have no anonymity really?
Or no.
Listen, I'll take this any day over what Peter's got to deal with.
Of course.
He's
It's not to that extent.
Nobody thinks that he, murdered,
a guy, supposedly. It's not like that.
In London.
In
and,
London.
think that he's a villain, and he's got the responsibility of literally saving the world. Motherfucker, you've been to space or whatever. Bitch, you've been to space.
Bitch, you've been to space.
I'm not. So, I will definitely take any small life, like Earth problems, over what he has to deal with. But of course, everything is with duality, right? Everything has a good and a bad. But I feel incredibly lucky to have the people that we have that support us. Without those people,
yeah, of course,
who show up and buy the tickets and support the films, and which are the fans. Then we wouldn't be able to do what we love to do every day. So I think I'm incredibly grateful for all of it. The good, the bad.
I'm just happy and proud of you guys for creating a great fucking movie. That's for sure. You guys killed it. That's for sure.
Who actually understand what you're going through, which I think
you guys fucking killed. You guys and everybody else involved killed it.
They're the only ones who really know how it's affecting each other, and they're there for each other, and you need those people, to get through the weirdness of life.
Great answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking about like the good and bad that come with everything, you guys have been doing some amazing work with the Brothers Trust as well, which I'm a huge fan of.
Thank you.
I've tried to do charitable efforts over the years as well.
That's that charity, organization that Tom Holland's doing with his brothers.
And help people and be so involved
in a sense, like it's one of those organizations that Tom Holland's involved in.
A lot of people do this stuff for kind of PR reasons, and it really feels like you really care about it. So
knowing Sean, and he does a lot of charity work.
Yeah, we do really care about it, and I think
of course, like no shit.
We still have so much heart and passion for it is that the charities we support are charities that don't necessarily have a lot of exposure.
Right.
So what we're doing with the Brothers Trust is shedding light on problems, diseases that people have never heard of, and we have been to, whether it's a school in Africa or a village in Africa or a hospital up north or a lab in Cambridge, we've been to all of these places to see where our money is going, to make sure that every penny spent is going towards the cause. So we've been more involved than most people when it comes to actually just donating money. So
look at that turtleneck of freaking Tom Holland with that jacket he's wearing.
It's given us that extra bit of drive to keep going, and throughout lockdown, we didn't feel comfortable asking people for money because everyone was going through a hard time as it is. So we were doing these events that were just to put a smile on people's faces. There was nothing more than that. So I'm
cheer
really
people
proud of
up
what the
during the
Brothers
rough
Trust has
times
done,
we are
and,
going through.
I hope it continues to grow, and I hope we can continue to make a difference around the world, even if it's one kid's life. Like the other day, we bought this young kid a chair. What do they call it? Like an electric chair, so he can get around. And you know, that's one kid out of millions, but to see the smile on his face, like that's enough. You know, so I love the Brothers Trust. It's the thing I'm most proud of in my career, and you know, I owe a lot of it to my mum. My mum runs the trust, and she's the boss.
Look at Zendaya. Oh, look at him.
Yeah, spectacular.
Look at him talking.
That's gonna do it for me. But it was lovely to see you guys again.
Thank you.
Well done on your CFDA award as well, and being in Dune.
Nah, look at Zendaya.
Amazing to see you
Look at
personally.
Zendaya.
And good luck
Look
with
at
the
Tom
rest of
just
the first chunk of it.
worshipping her.
Amazing.
That's
Yeah, you
awesome.
too.
Nice to see you. See you next time. Thanks, guys.
Next time, let's hope so. Let's hope, you know. Let's just hope, you know. So, that was really great. That was a really good, you know, interview that Sean did with, you know, Tom Holland and Zendaya. Obviously, like he pointed out, obviously, I remember that too. Like, Jacksepticeye, like, you know, Tom Holland kind of figured that Jack was Irish just based on how he looked and how he sounded. And literally the first thing I got to hear is, "Hello, mate." You know, that was Tom Holland. "Hello, mate." You know, because he's British. So that's kind of nice. And also, I like one of the questions I liked was about, you know, the whole idea of, like, you know, being, you know, having no privacy now, especially with the plot of the movie being, you know, Spider-Man's identity's been outed, etc., and he has no privacy. He can't go anywhere safe, hence the name No Way Home. So, like, he kind of compared that to, like, celebrities in real life and what they deal with on a regular basis, and, you know, paparazzi and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, I could totally see that. But obviously, Spider-Man's is more to an extent where he's accused of murdering somebody. That's, like, the difference. But, you know, I like that. I like that question he asked. I'm like, yeah, that's so true. Like, I never really thought of that at first, you know? Like, I found that pretty interesting, like, you know, and all that stuff. So, yeah, I thought that was cool. And, obviously, you know, like, you know, the question about the spoilers and, you know, like how they were, like Zendaya says, that you got to stay on your toes and you got to be careful, because they almost walked into that once with one interview, and they like, and Tom's like, "Don't say it." But knowing, you know, Tom Holland's history with spoilers, he's not the greatest. I'm surprised. Like, I didn't hear anything from him, so anything revealing, but, you know, he did fine, I think, because he really kept that the worst kept secret in movie history, that's for sure. But overall, this video was really nice and really fun to watch. So now, since the movie has been out for almost about a week now, we're gonna go into some spoiler territory, because I've seen the movie. I'm pretty sure almost everyone here has seen the movie. So I'm gonna give you the time to leave the video. If you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home at all, leave the video, please. I do not want to ruin the movie for you. I don't want to be the villain to you for ruining the movie for you, and then have someone go, "Spoilers, dude!" Like, please, leave the video, or I'll put a timestamp to when my spoiler discussion is over. So I'll give you 10 seconds or so for you to go. So here's your time. Here's your chance. Take it. Is everyone still here who's seen it? Still here? I see. Okay, very good. Now let's discuss. Okay, now, when it comes to No Way Home and, you know, like I referred to the worst kept secret in movie history, yeah, it was all true in a sense. So let's talk about the biggest obvious, you know, thing that a lot of fans have been wanting and talked about and was reported about and leaked, apparently. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were in the movie. Of course. That, like, to me, I was still kind of, like, having my expectations low, and I was trying to, like, you know, say to myself, they're not going to be in it. They're not going to be in it. But holy shit, when they, like, you know, especially with, you know, when, you know, how Andrew enters the fray, you know, when, you know, Ned somehow has the ability to open portals with, you know, the sling ring that Doctor Strange uses. And, you know, he's like, I wish we could see Peter. And then, you know, the portal opens, you see it in an alleyway, and you see who looks like to be Spider-Man, and then you see him turn around, and I saw those eyes. Those big, giant lenses of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I'm like, oh my god, it is fucking happening. It is fucking happening. And they're like, yeah, I think that's him. Peter! Peter! And then you see him running towards the portal, and you see it, you know who it is, and everybody went nuts. Like, everybody went crazy. Like, my theater was probably one of the, like, you know, most, like, appropriate, you know, ones, like, where everyone else, especially in, like, India and even in Paris, acted like it was like a rock concert when Andrew Garfield showed up. Especially, like, when he unmasks. And I've not seen a lot of people talk about this, but I noticed this, too, with this Easter egg. I don't know if anybody's noticed. This is like a callback to Andrew Garfield's first Spider-Man movie. You know, you notice when Andrew enters into the room and Ned's Lola is freaking out, screaming, and Andrew's like, hi, no, it's okay, I'm a nice guy. And then she runs out of the room, and then when he takes his mask off, like, Ned's Lola kind of, like, enters back in, like, more calm now. That is like a reference and callback to when he saved the kid on the bridge in The Amazing Spider-Man 1 during his first encounter with the Lizard. You know, remember that little kid, you know, with the father going, somebody help, my kid is trapped! You know, he, you know, tries to save the kid, and he opens up the back part of the, you know, the back window, and he has his mask on, and, you know, the kid's screaming, freaking out, like, oh my god, it's a monster! And he, like, Andrew's like, no, it's okay. And then he takes his mask off. I'm just a normal guy. And then the kid calms down. I don't know if I'm the only one that noticed that, but I caught that right away. I'm like, that is definitely a reference to that. I'll call back to that. So that, I thought that was really cool. But it was kind of funny when Zendaya, like, you know, MJ is like, prove you're Peter Parker. And she keeps throwing bread at him. And Andrew was just looking at her like, why'd you do that? I have the tingle thing, it's just not from bread. So that was funny. But then obviously, you know, it was kind of funny, like, well, I guess we'll just have to keep trying until we find the real one. And then Andrew goes, ouch. No offense. But, you know, when Ned opens the other portal that would eventually reveal Toby, before, you know, he said, find Peter Parker! I was like, find him, damn it. Find him! Because Toby was my Spider-Man growing up. And when he walked through that portal, I swear, I thought I was going to cry when going into this movie. But luckily, I kind of kept it together for most of it. I was like, oh, God. Like, I never thought I would see him as Spider-Man again. You know, like, that was just crazy. That was awesome. It was also cool, especially during, you know, Tom Holland's Spidey's first encounter with Electro. The moment when, you know, Electro notices, you hear the same theme from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Electro's theme from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That dubstep, you know, music that, you know, Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer composed in that movie. For like 2 seconds. And I'm like, oh, at least you acknowledged that. You know, I thought that was really cool. Like, you know, and all that. And also, Doc Ock was hilarious. Like, you know, what is this, a birthday party? Who is this clown? What is this madness? Hey, who the hell are these two? Alfred Molina's hilarious in this movie. Thank God they did not ruin Doc Ock. I don't think they did. I think they did fine with Doc Ock in this movie. Electro was great. You know, everybody was great. Like, no one felt forced. Sandman was fine. You know, Lizard was good. You know, everybody was fine. Like, no, it didn't feel like rushed or, you know, forced. It just felt natural. to what was going on in the movie. Everybody did their part well, and that was good. That one line, like the leaked footage that we all saw of Andrew Garfield on set looking like this. That was legit. That was legit. Like, you know, it was during the discussion when him and Toby are talking about web fluid and, you know, how Toby's Spider-Man doesn't have web shooters. He has organic web shooters. And Andrew is like, so you make your own web out of your own body? And, like, you know, Tom goes, does it just come out of your wrist or does it come out of anywhere else? Like, I knew that if they were going to be in it, I knew that was probably going to be one of the biggest things that they were going to be talking about. Like, especially earlier in the scene when they're in the lab and, you know, Ned hands Peter web cartridges, and then Toby goes, what is that for? Those are my web shooters for my these are my web fluid for my web shooters. Why? And it comes right out, and everybody's like, what? And then, like, that came out of you. And then, like, Toby's like, you can't do that, huh? And then, like, Andrew's like, how does that even... And then Tom goes, oh, wait, okay, let's move on. Oh, my God. This whole movie was so good. And they kind of, in a way, referenced the pointing meme in a way. And it's when Ned goes, Peter! And then everybody goes, yeah? And then they kind of like, you know, whoa, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? And they kind of point at each other. They kind of referenced it. I'm like, that's kind of funny. It took me like a couple seconds to realize. I'm like, oh yeah, the meme. Okay, the pointing meme. I'm like, oh, now I get what they're doing. A lot of stuff, you know, and also with, you know, after, you know, they cured, you know, most of the villains, all the villains, especially after, you know, when Andrews Peter's talking to Max Dillon, Electro, and, you know, like, Max Dillon's like, I thought you were gonna be black. And then, you know, he's like, oh, I'm hoping there's a black Spider-Man out there somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, that's a Miles Morales reference. That's for damn sure. And I thought that was awesome. You know, that's the second Miles reference in the MCU. In Homecoming, you know, with Aaron Davis, you know, Donald Glover's character, you know, he referred to, like, oh, I have a nephew who lives down there, you know, and all that. So that, I was like, yeah, that they're setting him up at some point, because we all know how popular Miles has become, especially in the last few years, especially with Into the Spider-Verse and, you know, the games. So yeah, that was cool. And also the reunion between Otto Octavius and Toby, that got me a little bit. That really got me a lot. Like, it kind of reminded me of, you know, Steve from Blue's Clues a little bit. I don't know why. It reminded me of Steve. When he, like, you know, Octavia's like, it's good to see you, dear boy. You're all grown up. How are you? Like, it was like as if he was, in a sense, talking to us, the ones who grew up watching the movies, the original trilogy, and, you know, and stuff like that. It was almost like, in a sense, he's in a way talking to us, the ones who grew up. And I like the fact that Toby responded, trying to do better, which is a reference to Spider-Man 2 when, you know, Dr. Octavius is talking to him for the first time, and he's like, Parker, now I know you're your Connors student. He tells me you're brilliant, but he also tells me you're lazy. And then Toby goes, I'm trying to do better. You know, that was the reference he was referring to. Oh, another reference. My back! That was great. Everything was great. Like, I loved every single minute of it. It was fucking top, like an amazing experience from the beginning to end. You know, everything. Also with, you know, Andrew kind of like calling himself lame. Oh, I'm lame. Like, I've only fought like a guy in a rhinoceros machine. Wow, like, you know, Toby referenced his encounter with Venom. Like, I fought an alien made out of black goo once. You know, and then Toby's like, after, you know, Andrew said, oh, I fought a guy in a rhinoceros machine. I'm kind of lame compared to you guys. And then Toby's like, can we rewind it back to the I'm lame part? Because you, sir, are not. You are amazing. And I'm like, it's almost like, in a way, it's like referring to the fact that Andrew Garfield's movies weren't as good as, let's say, Tobey Maguire's movies. because everybody just hates Andrew Garfield. For most people hated Andrew in his version of Spider-Man, but I liked his version of Spider-Man. I thought he was great. So it was just unfortunate that his movies weren't as good compared to Tobey Maguire's movies. I'm like, oh my god, like that was awesome when he said that. You are amazing. And I'm like, damn right he is. He is amazing. And another funny line was like when they couldn't, they weren't like, their partnership wasn't working at first, and then they I'm like, Andrew and Tobey was like, I've never worked together before. I never teamed up before. And then, Tom's like, I don't want to brag or anything, but I was in the Avengers. Tobey's like, the Avengers? That's great. What is that? I was like, for a second, when he's like, that's great, I'm like, wait, is there something that he's going to say? Like, he was, in a sense, the Avengers existed in his universe afterwards? No. Like, and they're just like, is that a band? And then obviously the best part, like before they went out there to swing together to go on top of the Statue of Liberty, like Andrew stopped him. Wait! I love you guys. And then Tom and Tobey go, thank you. That was great. And obviously another great moment I think was when they all swung together and they did the superhero landing. And I noticed this too. Like I noticed it right away. The order of when they landed. First it was Tobey, then it was Andrew, then it was Tom Holland. Like you're pretty much telling the story, the history of Spider-Man on film. First it was Tobey Maguire, then it was Andrew Garfield, and now it's Tom Holland. So that was awesome. And Green Goblin. I know I forgot about him, but Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe fucking killed it once again. He just, you could tell he has so much fun playing that character. And I heard that he only agreed to come back if he was able to do some of the action in the movie. And I'm like, oh yeah, and he has not missed a step. Like, he has not missed a beat playing that character. Like, especially like in the scene before when, unfortunately, spoiler alert, Aunt May dies, when, Peter has his spider sense go off and everything, and, like, like Octavia's like, Norman? And then, like, like Green Goblin's like, Norman's on sabbatical, honey. I was like, oh no, here we go. Here we fucking go. And, obviously, I loved how they did the spider sense in this movie. I thought they did great with, the spider sense. It's not the Peter tingle, it's the spider sense. Like, I thought they did great with the spider sense in this movie and how they, did it. Like, I remember they did with the hair standing up on his arm in Infinity War. Like, I don't remember what it was in Far From Home. I think it was kind of somewhat like what they did in No Way Home. But who knows? But I think they did great with, everyone involved did a phenomenal job. Like, and the fact that pretty much now that every villain, all the villains are cured in a sense, what does that do? Like, does that create new timelines for their respective universes? Who knows? But the one thing I swear I would have fucking got really angry at was with Tobey. And when Tobey stops Tom from trying to kill Green Goblin with his own glider. And after he, converts him back to the good side and, stops him from doing so, Goblin stabs Tobey. And I'm like, don't you fucking dare do that. Do not do that. But thank goodness they did not kill him. Thank God. Holy shit. I almost had a fucking heart attack at that moment. And stuff like that. But I swear I would have fucking rage quit at that movie if that happened. I would have walked out of the theater. I would not give a shit if what happens afterwards. If they killed Tobey in that movie, I would have been done. Because how dare you kill him off like that? But anyways, another thing too with Andrew. He was probably the highlight for me. Because he talks about what happened, after his, the events of his second movie, after he lost Gwen. Like, at first he's, like, trying to be, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but after a while he stopped pulling his punches, he got rageful, he got bitter, and he just didn't want, Tom to go down that same road like he did. So is he kind of, in a sense, admitting to the fact that he probably killed people in his universe? Ooh, okay. And another thing, with Andrew, when the scaffoldings come crashing down, MJ falls, and you see Tom Holland trying to catch her, but then Goblin swipes him away, and MJ's still falling, and Andrew sees this and just sees it and screams no, and then he jumps and dives to catch her. That got me too, and I'm like, there you go, fucking redemption. Redeem yourself, Andrew. Redeem yourself. And you could tell that he was kind of like, having flashbacks to that moment with Gwen, when after he said, "You okay?" And then MJ goes, "Yeah." And you could see in his, face, like, Andrew's, like, about to start fucking crying, choking up tears. I'm like, oh my god, dude, this is great. This is fucking great. So I was, like, very happy to see that, too. Oh, also, I forgot. In the beginning, Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox, from the Netflix series, he shows up. Like, that was cool, too. Like, Matt Murdock, somehow gets the charges on Peter Parker, the murder charges on Peter Parker to be dropped. And, then a brick gets thrown into their room, into the house, and Daredevil, or just Matt Murdock, catches it. And, Peter looks at him like, how did you just do that? And then Matt Murdock goes, I'm a really good lawyer. I was like, yep, he's got more than that. And it's kind of ironic, too, especially with what's going on with the Hawkeye series. I did hear that, the guy who played Kingpin in the Netflix series, he showed up at the end of one of the episodes, and I think he was probably in the 6th episode. So it wouldn't be surprising. So they're, in a way, finally trying to connect the Netflix series with the MCU. Even though technically the Netflix series, all the Netflix shows, like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Defenders, all those guys were all, in a sense, part of the MCU anyways. So they're finally trying to connect them with the MCU, because we all remember what happened when they abruptly canceled those shows. Because of the fact that Disney Plus was coming around and Netflix was just so bitter. That's why. But yeah, everything that happened in this movie, especially with the ending with, everybody forgetting that Peter Parker even existed, was even more bizarre. And obviously, it was pretty much right out of One More Day, one of the most controversial Spider-Man comic book stories in history, because it undoes Peter Parker and Mary J. Watson's marriage in the comics, which a lot of people didn't like the fact that they did that. But I think it kind of makes a little bit more sense here. Like, I think it felt right to do it here. Even though they pulled from one of the most controversial stories, it works here. That's for sure. And everybody involved, Doctor Strange, everybody, and stuff like that, did a great job. And it was great to see Tobey and Andrew one more time as Spider-Man. And I hope Andrew gets another movie. I honestly wouldn't mind if Tobey got another movie too. Like, I honestly wouldn't mind it. But another thing with the post-credit scenes, look, the first one with, Tom Hardy's Venom. He's in, like, a bar in Mexico somewhere, and he's getting, the rundown of, like, of the MCU and all these other heroes and, stuff like that. And before he's like, I think we're going to talk to our little pal Spider-Man. Before he gets that chance, he gets, transported back to his universe. But he leaves a little present behind. A little piece of the symbiote was left behind, meaning now that the symbiote is now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And at some point, it will eventually probably, lead to, Tom Holland's Spider-Man with the black suit. So thank goodness around that. But then the last post-credit scene, the end credit scene, was pretty much, in a sense, like a teaser trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So you have, like, Wanda, Scarlet Witch around, you have, Wong, you have, Mordo, you have, like, all this crazy stuff going on with the multiverse and, you know, all this crazy, you know, visual effects. And it's great to see, you know, Sam Raimi directing this. You know, the guy who, you know, directed the original Spider-Man trilogy doing it. And, you know, you saw, like, at the end, like, an evil version of Doctor Strange. And a lot of people are saying that's Strange Supreme from What If. I don't know if that's necessarily him. That might be, like, one of those things where he just writes variants of himself. But it might be, like, maybe it could be a reference to him. Who knows? But we just gotta wait and see the movie when it comes out, whenever that is. Like, I think it comes out now in May. Because it was supposed to come out in March. Now it got delayed to May. So, who knows what's gonna happen with Doctor Strange. But I'm kind of excited to see where Spider-Man goes from here. Because now, since now everybody doesn't even know who he is now. Like, Happy doesn't know him. Ned and MJ don't know. Like, no, like, he's on his own. He has his own apartment. God knows if Mr. Dickovich... I would love to see Mr. Dickovich come back. Rent! You know. You know, him and stuff. He has his own apartment. He created a new suit. Like a really shinier one, too. It kind of reminded me of the Spider-Man Mark IV, you know, nanotech suit from the comics. And even from the game as well. It's like that shiny, reflective blue and red. That's what it reminded me of a little bit. I don't know if I'm the only one that kind of saw it. Like I know obviously it was not necessarily that one, but it was just kind of reminded me of that particular costume from the comics. So, anyways, overall, I loved this movie. They did. I thought everybody did a phenomenal job. Toby did great. Andrew did phenomenal. Andrew kind of stole the show for me, which is surprising because I was really happy. I was really more stoked about Tobey Maguire because I grew up with Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. He was my Spider-Man. So it was great to see him. Like, but Andrew kind of stole the show for me because, you know, and stuff like that. Like, you know, what he does. Like, you know, especially when he saves MJ, and that was great, you know. But obviously, you know, everybody involved, like, even when, you know, Zendaya and Tom Holland in this interview talked about the interactions I was really excited to see was the interactions with Norman Osborn and Dr. Octavius. That was the one I was really excited to see because I'm like, they never even crossed paths before. So it was great to see that. Like, you know, that was really awesome to see that them finally, you know, interacting with one another. When they're pretty much from the same universe. Even though Doc Ock was created after Norman Osborn was dead and stuff. So there's that. But anyways, that is it on the spoiler talk. So hi, if you're back from not seeing all the spoilers, I appreciate you guys. But overall, I highly recommend you go see No Way Home. So please, I am begging you, go see No Way Home, please, and stay safe out there because they're, you know, enforcing some mass restrictions again recently in some areas because of the new variant. So please stay safe out there and stuff like that, and hopefully, you know, you'll be able to see it. And it's already breaking records. It made $253 million opening weekend here in America, which is the third biggest opening in U.S. history, behind Infinity War and Endgame, which is insane. No wonder why a lot of, like, the director and Tom Holland said that this is pretty much the Endgame for Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Endgame. And I'm like, I definitely see that. But anyways, enough rambling. I've rambled on for so long now. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's long-ass reaction to this, you know, 8-minute video. So, if you like what you saw here, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Be sure to ring that bell to be part of the notification squad. Be sure to check out my Instagram because I make collabs with Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and myself. I also act as a cosplays on there, so go check it out. And be sure to check out my Tumblr and my Discord in the description as well. So until next time, JRDL96 signing out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!